Hello and welcome to Roadmap 2015. I'm Binga Ashiru. We begin today with the European Union early warning signs on the forthcoming elections in Nigeria. The EU recently raised alarm that just one recommendation of the post-2011 poll has been adopted by Nigeria, which is the Freedom of Information Act. The EU also says it would not monitor elections in the northeast of Nigeria. What does this portend in a polity that desperately cries out for a credible poll?
The attention of most Nigerians and indeed the world is now fixed on the general elections which is coming up in February. In preparation for these elections, some election observers are already in the country to monitor the process leading to the elections. Election observers of the European Union who are already in the country met with the National Secretary of the People's Democratic Party. The head of the delegation assured the party official that the team is not going to take sides.
We apply the international rules for the elections. That means that we must be neutral. That's the most important thing. We don't interfere at all at the elections, and we are just observers. I will put an example. It's like if it was a football match, we are not referees. We are just spectators, and then we can comment about what happens.
The PDP National Secretary on his part assured the observers that the party is committed to the Abuja Peace Accord.
PDP, I'm assuring you that we stand by that accord and we will continue to observe and respect all the agreements reached therein. We have a unique responsibility as a party in power. The stability of the country, the progress of the country, the image of the country, we have the duty to protect it, and we continue to do that as a political party.
The EU delegation also met with the presidential candidate and party officials of the All Progressives Congress. After a closed-door meeting, the chief observer spoke to journalists about their mission. The APC presidential candidate also spoke briefly with journalists.
For security reasons, obvious security reasons. But anyhow, we have people deployed very close to the northeast, and we have contacts there on this area, and then we try to have the better information as we can have on the northeast. But the present situation don't allow us to go to the northeast.
They have been covering other countries' elections, although not exactly similar to our own country. They are very experienced people. They are qualified to come for this supervision. And as you observe, they cannot cover all the 120 or 150,000 polling units, but they have placed people in strategic places to advise them.
These are just some of the observers that are expected to monitor the elections that have caught the attention of the world. An election Nigerians are praying will be free, fair, and credible.
With the EU raising the deafening alarm bells on Nigeria's forthcoming elections, which is barely a couple of weeks away, would Nigeria ignore these recommendations as Nigeria moves closer to another political transition? Or would Nigeria adopt its own homegrown solutions to the elections challenges on ground? Does Nigeria have the capacity to manage elections in the beleaguered Northeast? No doubt, many questions begging for answers. We had a phone interview with an election observer, Ambassador Dotsima Lawal. Ambassador Lawal was an ECOWAS observer in the last elections in Sierra Leone and in the 2013 elections in the conflict-ridden Mali. He comments on the EU concern on the forthcoming elections in Nigeria.
Freedom of Information Act almost covers everything pertaining to election. If the press are free to tell the world what is happening, then those actors, the participants, will be very, very careful in their utterances, in their actions, and finally in what they do.
You are talking about adopting its own homegrown solutions, but that refers us to the Justice Wise recommendation. Not all of these recommendations have been adopted by the Nigerian government.
Yes, because you see, the government sees some of these recommendations as not necessarily tenable. The government is there to protect the interests of Nigeria. It knows what is our collective interest. We have a National Assembly comprising the Senate and the members of the House. Now, if these people get mute on the other recommendations, it means we accept them because we elected them.
One critical aspect is that of the autonomy of the appointment of the INEC chairman but by an independent body. That has still not been adopted. Do you think a free and fair and credible elections can be achieved without this recommendation?
Well, depending on the attitude of the chairman, he can go ahead and produce a clean, fair, credible election. But the government has left itself open to criticism because they appointed the chairman. They are the ones paying the money to the chairman and his team. So basically, they say he who pays the piper dictates the tune.
How do you see the EU's statement that they would not be monitoring elections in the Northeast?
Well, you see, circumstances create situations. It's possible an election can be held in a war situation. But to tell you the truth, in the Northeast, where it is not even possible for people to go to churches or to the mosque to pray, do not see who dares to come out and go and line up to cast a vote. Probably others will have to come very imaginative.
Political campaigns are now getting more intense as we move towards the general elections.
It is one of the many places for politicians to campaign. Borno State, one of the restive northeastern states, and the president is here seeking for votes. Unfortunately, Borno State has become synonymous with the Boko Haram violence, going by the spate of killings there.
The Borno people are not people who hate others. They are not people who kill others. They are people who convert others to be a part of them. And that is what we know them for. The Boko Haram cannot change that. The kind of alien lectures they are taking from outside this country cannot survive, cannot endure. Definitely is not sustainable.
President Goodluck Jonathan, however, promises the people that not only would the terror group be brought to their knees, but that effort being made to bring back the Chibok girls is still ongoing.
We must surely overcome terror. We must surely conquer Boko Haram. We must surely return Borno State to what we know as a peaceful state, the state of peace. We must do everything to make sure that all people kidnapped, including the Chibok girls, get back home. We are improving. Most of you can attest to that. In our advances, we will surely conquer Boko Haram.
Borno State's former governor is on the same page with President Jonathan. Mr. Ali Modu Sherif says that the president is not alone in a quest to stop insurgency in the state. A minute's silence was observed in memory of those killed by the dreaded sect members, the Boko Haram.
Promises are made, but it's left for the electorate to make up their minds on who should be their choice candidates. As the PDP intensified its campaign, its biggest challenge seemed to be the threat of insurgency in the Northeast. We spoke with the former Minister of State for Defense, Ambassador Musili Obanikoro. We began by taking him up on federal government's anti-insurgency war.
Issue of security in the Northeast, or in the North generally, has been politicized to the point that APC cannot absolve themselves from complicity in what is going on there from the beginning. And that is the truth. Even from the day the president won in 2011, when then CPC and some prominent people in the north said they will make the country ungovernable for President Jonathan.
If you're blaming the APC for connivance in the war against insurgency, now, looking at the reality on ground, the PDP controls all the instruments of power. So one would say, is the PDP or the federal government not passing the buck?
But you see, let me tell you, prosecution of war or security work must also take cognizance of the rights and privileges of citizens. Without the cooperation of the people, no matter how strong a system is, that system will collapse. What is working for America today, or the Western world today, is patriotic citizens. We must also elevate our level of patriotism to that level. We are in a state of war. All Nigerians must be on the same table. We must be on the same plate. This passing of bucks, the president is doing this, is helping, you are fueling the Boko Haram people more. And the more you fuel them, and that is actually where they wanted the society divided and get sympathy of people and making the government look bad. And because the opposition has given them the vehicle to do that, and that's what is happening. And let me tell you, if you know the level of sabotage going on against the prosecution of this war today, you'll be amazed. There are certain things I can't say, I can't divulge.
What are the sabotage? Could you tell Nigerians?
But I can't, it's not everything that you know that you can speak in the open. But I am telling you, let me tell you, how about, I am very passionate about this country. Extremely passionate. I'm a patriotic Nigerian. Explain a situation where there was an SOS call. The men got there. Somebody told them to go right instead of going left. They turned right, and just 100 meters from that right, the Boko Haram people opened fire on our troop. How do you explain that? How do you explain the breaking into the military barrack with precision, going directly to where the Boko Haram guys were kept and releasing them and getting out of the place? How were they able to achieve that? There are so many questions begging for answers.
Can't we find solutions to this sabotage?
The solution is very simple. All of us must step up to the plate. All Nigerians must support the effort of the federal government to get rid of this Boko Haram menace.
Let's make projections to the forthcoming 2015 general elections. How do you see the PDP contending with the APC?
See, let me tell you, we have a stronger party. We have records that the president can run on. We have, for the first time in the history of this country, a gentleman, a father, an administrator of uncommon blessings by God. President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan is, to me, the boss person that can lead Nigeria for the next 4 years, given some of the challenges that we have today and that we are likely to have tomorrow. Those who created the problems we are going through now cannot be the solution. And that is what the other side is proposing. Probably, if not for courageous men, if people they are proposing had their way then, we probably won't have democracy in Nigeria today. As I've said, we cannot afford to have selective memory. We must open our heart we must open our head. The past must always be a guide. What we are saying is that their option represents the past, the ugly past that we are working hard to clean up. And President Jonathan represents the future that Nigerians are yearning for.